a trusted web page so as to fool the victim who is viewing that page. In a cross-site scripting attack, the criminal does not hack into the trusted website. So the link that I clicked on, it does not mean that I hacked the website. All I'm doing is sending a specially created link which has some JavaScript code within that link. So when the victim clicks on the link, the special JavaScript code also gets executed. That's the only thing that's happening. For example, it may be possible for a criminal to inject a script into a web page in such a way that when the victim clicks on that link or visits that web page, then he's redirected to a fake login screen on a phishing page controlled by the victim that steals sensitive data like the password of the victim. That is what cross-site scripting is all about. Cross-site scripting can be executed for a wide variety of different malicious or criminal purposes. First of all, to execute some kind of harmful code or malicious code on the victim's computer, to hijack or steal somebody else's cookie, for phishing attacks or fake login screen attacks, which is something that I've just already demonstrated to all of you, and also for redirection to a scam website. I'll give you an example of a McDonald's scam very soon, which is executed or was executed using cross-site scripting. So typically, a normal HTTP request is something like the following. The user clicks on a link. The link normally is some website.com/search.cgi or search.php ? Followed by something. And that link takes the victim to the trusted website. So that's not cross-site scripting. In cross-site scripting, the same link is sent to the user, except that after the question mark or after the criteria equal to something, there is some malicious code or JavaScript that has been inserted. The user still is sent to the trusted website. So it's not as if the user is sent to some other website. It's not like open redirection attacks where the user is sent to some other website. User is still sent to the same website, the same page, but on top of that page, something else gets projected or something else gets displayed. And how does that happen? Using the JavaScript that you add or the HTML code that you add at the end of the link that is sent to the victim. So the difference between open redirection attacks and cross-site scripting attacks is very simple. In open redirection attacks, you are basically sending a link to the victim. Victim clicks on the link. The link takes the victim to a trusted website like Google or Facebook or Amazon. But these websites have some open redirection scripts running, which will then redirect the user to some other website, which could be the criminal's website. In cross-site scripting, you're not redirecting the user to any other website. You send a link to the victim clicks on the link, victim is taken to the actual website like Google, Facebook or whatever. But on top of that page, something else also gets projected, and that is done using the JavaScript or the HTML code that is attached or appended to the end of the link. So typical example of cross-site scripting attack is through malicious links. So a criminal will send a malicious link to the victim either through chat or email or through some social network like Facebook or Twitter, or maybe the criminal will create their own website or blog on which there will be a link. Victim clicks on the link and the victim is taken to the cross-site scripting page. One way to further fool the victim is to use encoded URLs, which we've already seen an example of. And we've also seen a demonstration of how to encode a URL and how to decode a URL. So what exactly is URL encoding? It is very easy to convert a dangerous looking URL into difficult to understand format, making them seem more real, more legitimate, more trustworthy, and hence making it easier to fool the victim. This is achieved through URL encoding. URL encoding is a technique of converting special characters within a URL into the ASCII format so that they can be transmitted through HTTP protocol. It converts special characters into some code which is essentially the % sign followed by 2 characters from the ASCII code. and a very simple way of another website which allows you to convert regular URLs into encoded URLs and then decode encoded URLs into regular URLs is this website called network-tools.com. Network-tools.com. Now, if you want to manually convert a URL from a decoded format to encoded and then encoded format to decoded, you can actually go to this website called w3schools.com/tags/ref_url_encode.asp. So w3schools.com/tags/ref_url_encode.asp, where essentially there's an entire table displayed which tells you for each special character that you're trying to encode, what is the encoded code that will be used. So on the right hand side you see the URL encoded column, and on the left is the ASCII character column. For every character, so every special character, there is some kind of code that can be used instead. So say for example, if you look at say the open bracket code on the left column, say around 6th or 7th row. So if I just read an open bracket, then I know what it means. But instead, if I read %28, then I will not know what that actually means, unless I understand what URL encoding is all about. Another very interesting website that allows you to encode URLs is this website called stringfunction.com. Stringfunction.com. Let me quickly open up stringfunction.com in my browser. So if all of you look at the screen, you just need to kind of scroll down, and there's a couple of links that would be of interest to you. You have encode a URL, and then you have decode a URL. And if you look carefully, there's actually an entire list of different apps or tools available on this website. For example, there's also a decoder for hash algorithms like MD5, SHA1, and other popular encoding standards. So that's stringfunction.com for all of you. Now we have just learned what URL encoding is all about, but when you're hiding some HTML code or some JavaScript code, or if you're trying to disguise it, there are two things that you can do. One is the URL itself that is there within that, the URL that is sent to the victim can be encoded. The second thing that you can do is the HTML code itself can also be encoded. So just the way you can use special characters in a URL to hide what you're actually sending or where you're actually sending the victim, similarly the HTML code that you attach to a link can also be encoded using a technique called HTML encoding. So there are some special characters that are reserved in the HTML programming language and cannot be used as they are, since they conflict with HTML commands. For example, it is common in the HTML programming language to use the open and close brackets signs to enclose commands. So if you want to use them in your web page, then you need to use special codes that start with an ampersand sign or an and sign. The complete list of such special HTML encoded code is available on the website w3schools.com, w3schools.com/html/html_entities.asp. So, time for another demonstration. How many of you have eaten in McDonald's in the last 1 year? I'm sure at least once or twice in the last 1 year, 2 years, you would have eaten in McDonald's. Nowadays, McDonald's is there in every city in India. Now, what if you check your email today and you have received an email from customer service at mcdonalds.com? Would you believe that email? Most of us will believe it, especially if it is sent from customer service at mcdonalds.com. And when we open the email, what if there was a big logo on the top and the email said something like the following: Dear Ankit, or whatever your name is, congratulations. Since you ate at McDonald's and bought a Happy Meal, you have won a special offer, special prize of 1 lakh rupees. Click on the below link to enter your bank account details so you can transfer the money to your bank account. And when you look at the link says mcdonalds.com. So if you look at the PowerPoint slide, the first link, mcdonalds.com, that is the link that is there in the email. Now, to be honest, a lot of us receive such scam emails all the time. That, from Nigeria, usually these emails are sent. And the email will say, you have won $1 million, or I'm a king of Nigeria, I want to give you $1 billion, and things like that. So generally when we receive such emails, we don't trust them. But what is different here is that, first of all, it's a spoofed email, so it looks very real. It looks like it's been sent from customer service at mcdonalds.com. And secondly, it actually contains a proper link. And when you investigate the link is to mcdonalds.com. It is not to some third-party website, or it's not to some other domain. The domain in the link is mcdonalds.com. So would you trust it? Most of us will unfortunately trust it. You're obviously right now sitting in a computer hacking class. So all of you must be saying that, there is no way we'll trust it. But if you are not in a hacking class, you'll at least be curious to see कि ये सच है कि ये झूठ है, or whether it's real or whether it is some scam. And when you investigate the link and notice that the link is mcdonalds.com, you'll actually trust it. And when you click on the link, look at what happens. The link will take you to the same website, which is mcdonalds.com, and the McDonald's real website will get displayed. So on the left hand side there will be a logo, the real links, everything is real, except on the right hand side a Pakistani flag and the message hacked by invectors, haha, own mate, will get displayed. So this does not mean that this Pakistani hacker has hacked into the McDonald's website. No. Cross-site scripting is not about hacking into a website. Cross-site scripting is about sending a special link to the victim so that the victim thinks that he is going to mcdonalds.com, and since the victim trusts McDonald's, they might click on the link and they will be taken to the real McDonald's website. But on top of that, something different, something extra has been projected or displayed. And how did that happen? Let me show you the code again. The link was mcdonalds.com/content/something something. So the entire link was safe and real until the question mark. After the question mark, there is some additional code that has been added. So you can actually divide this link into two parts. There is a good part and there is a cross-site scripting part. The good part is till the question mark, and the cross-site scripting part is after the question mark. And the cross-site scripting part is again encoded using the same URL encoding website that we had seen earlier. So when you decode it, the decoded code has been displayed at the bottom part of the screen. It's nothing but an image that has been added to that link. So when somebody clicks on that link, they are taken to the McDonald's website and they're taken to the search results HTML page, but on top of that, this additional image of the Pakistani flag and this message has been embedded. Now instead of this image, instead of this Pakistani flag, what if I had embedded a form saying that congratulations, you're a winner of 1 lakh rupees, enter your bank account details below so that we can deposit the 1 lakh rupees to your account. Imagine the fraud that could take place. Because even if people are skeptical, suspicious when they receive the email, when they are taken to mcdonalds.com website, and if you look at the URL, it is mcdonalds.com. If you look at the left column, it is the real McDonald's website. But on the right, on top of the real website of McDonald's, the bank account details form gets displayed. That is how dangerous cross-site scripting really is. it does not mean that we have hacked this McDonald's website. It only means that we have exploited a loophole on the website which allows us to embed some additional code in a link to that particular page. So yes, the McDonald's website is vulnerable to a cross-site scripting attack. It does not mean that we have hacked the website, but it means that we have exploited the loophole in this particular page of mcdonalds.com, which allowed us to add this additional code and then send that link to the victim. And when the victim clicks on the link, this particular page gets displayed. So cross-site scripting attacks are generally executed using links that you share with the victim. But they can also be executed using comment fields in blogs or online forums. So infecting a web page can be as simple as typing some malicious JavaScript or HTML or VBScript commands into the comment field on a web page. So next time a victim views that web page, then even the malicious code will get executed. For example, you have various blogs on the internet which have comment fields, right? And using the comment fields, you can actually leave a comment on that particular blog or website. So along with the comment, what if in the comment field, you also type some HTML code? For example, if you look at the right bottom corner, the forum or the screenshot tells you that you're allowed to use some HTML codes. So a lot of forums allow you to do that, and you could actually execute cross-site scripting attacks by adding some code to that website. The next demonstration is not really cross-site scripting, but it's something that is pretty interesting. It's just a joke or a prank that you can play on your friends. So let me open up my Mozilla Firefox browser. Let's wait for the Firefox browser to open my computer. Alright, this may or may not work, so if it does not work, my apologies in advance, but let's hope that this works. So if all of you look at the screen, this is the IIT Bombay website. Right? What if I wanted to edit the website? So, what if I want to write something like Ankit Fadia is the new dean of IIT Bombay. So in the news section, I can write new dean appointed at annual general meeting. And Ankit Fadia is the new dean of IIT Bombay. Imagine playing this prank on your friend. This is not hacking, but it's a simple prank that you can play on somebody else. Ankit Fadia Research Center. So IIT Bombay Ankit Fadia Research Center. So how do you do that? You can actually just play a prank on your friend and edit pretty much any website on the internet by just using this JavaScript code. Obviously this is not hacking. Obviously it's only a prank, but it's a fun prank to play on somebody. It's not cross-site scripting, but I've just included it here because we are talking about JavaScript and all that. So the code that you got to type is javascript.document.body.content editable is equal to true. I'm just giving all of you a few minutes to copy this code. Alright. What I've done was I saved this code as a bookmark in my browser. So whenever I want to use it, I just run that bookmark. So now that we have seen what cross-site scripting is all about, let me share with you some examples of cross-site scripting code. And if you notice, these are all examples of cross-site scripting code that you can use to embed additional code into a link and fool the victim into thinking that they're going to a fake, like a trusted website, but actually they're not. So I'm not gonna, you don't need to copy these codes down, because there's an entire website called OWASP, which basically is dedicated to finding all kinds of cross-site scripting code or web codes or web hacking codes. Its full form is Open Web Application Security Project. OWASP is an open source project, kind of global collaboration where hackers and researchers across the world, they contribute new codes that they have kind of found, or new loopholes that they have found. So you can click on top 10 and get more information. There are cheat sheets that you can use as well. So you need to know HTML and JavaScript to be able to successfully perform cross-site scripting. So you have different top 10 attacks or example attacks that you can go through. So this is authentication cheat sheet, logging cheat sheet, forgot password cheat sheet. So this project, OWASP project, is not only about sharing the latest information about web hacking security loopholes, but it's also about creating a secure standard of procedures to follow if you want to, say, authenticate a user securely. Right? For example, forgot password cheat sheet is all about what are the exact steps that you need to follow if you are running a website. What should you follow in terms of procedure to make sure that your user's account or password is secure, or the authentication process is secure, for example. So go through it whenever you can. It's a great learning community, great learning website. There are a few tools available as well which allow you to scan the victim website and identify web hacking opportunities or cross-site scripting loopholes. So there's this website called Sandcat. It's a penetration testing browser or a pen test browser. You type in the website address of the victim. It will then try to open up the website, and it will examine each and every input field on that website and try to see if there is some kind of security loophole in that particular page or not. So what are some solutions that you can implement to protect yourself against cross-site scripting? First of all, you got to scan your website using commercial web hacking tools like Acunitex Web Vulnerability Scanner to find any potential cross-site scripting vulnerabilities that may exist in the code. Simple manual check is something that you can do. For example, whenever there's an input field in your website or any other website, try typing the following code and pressing enter or submit button and see what happens. If you get some kind of error message, or if you get a pop-up, it means that the pop-up will say CSS vulnerable. So if you see that pop-up, that means that it is vulnerable to cross-site scripting. If you do not see that pop-up, if you see anything else, that means it is not vulnerable to cross-site scripting. Finally, when you're writing the programming source code of your website, it's important to validate all types of